What's up everyone, my name is Nick, this channel is Stridewise. I look at casual and durable menswear and footwear, mostly boots. For the first few years, it was just boots. And if I were to ask you to guess the first video I ever did, you'd probably guess a Red Wing boot and you'd be right. But the second video I ever did was on this one, the Wolverine 1000 mile boot. And look, it wasn't that good. The video, I mean. Like I didn't even know to use shoe trees like this back then. Look at this insane toe spring I had on those boots. I was an idiot. So I've been redoing some of my earlier reviews with the benefit of the many more years of experience that I have had since then. I've visited boot factories and workshops in Spain, Indonesia, England, America, and a bunch of other places. I made my own boots since then. I made my own leather since then. So I want to redo my 1000 mile review, especially because the one thing I hated the most about this boot back then, that original video, is now the thing that I love the most about it. So I'll list my mistakes in a bit, but for now, let's make this a regular review that anyone new to the channel or to the world of boots can understand. Real quick, what is Wolverine, this company? It started in 1883 as a little leather workshop in Michigan, and now subsidiaries of Wolverine worldwide include Hush Puppies cat footwear, Harley Davidson footwear, Merrell, Saucony, Bates, Sweaty Betty, and Stridewise. Apparently a children's footwear chain that sounds way too much like this channel's name. I'm pretty sure I originally wanted to call this channel Stride Right actually, and now I know why I could not register that trademark. It's a very, very big company is my point. I'm sure they sell way more of their $150 Asian-made work boots than their 1000 mile boots, and yet the 1000 mile is their hero product. It's certainly the one they talk about the most when they want to sound like they make all their boots in the USA. They don't, but this one is indeed still made in Michigan, just like it was when it debuted in the 1910s. Nowadays, the plain toe original 1000 mile boot comes in a surprisingly limited 2 leathers, and both of them are the same leather. It's called chromexcel. After years of hard-hitting boot journalism, I can tell you, chromexcel is the most beloved casual boot leather in the whole world. Every brand from $200 boots to $1,000 boots uses chromexcel. It's made in Chicago by Wolverine Leather Company. It was used on engine seals and tanks in World War II, and a rough-out version was on servicemen's boots as well during the World War. Chromexcel is jam-packed, hot stuffed is the word they use, with oils and waxes, including beeswax and beef tallow, and all those oils and waxes have the twin benefits of making it very water resistant and pretty long lasting, and also making it look really cool, especially as it ages, because the oils and waxes, they move around and stuff. It's called a pull-up effect. So if you're going to have a boot with just one leather, which Wolverine has kind of strangely done, you'd want it to be chromexcel, especially for an American icon. The original 1000 mile boot is a classic plain toe work boot, durable triple stitching along the side, with only the middle one being a contrast stitch. So it's a nice balance of subtlety and durability, and with a nice work booty round toe for comfort and movement. None of those pinky squishing almond shaped toes on this boot. This is just the platonic ideal of a boot, and that's a compliment. But while this brings to mind classic work boots, number one, no, it doesn't have like a steel toe or electrical shock resistance or any ASTM ratings you would need on your average job site today. It is a boot for casual wear, and there's nothing wrong with that, especially because number two, the lack of toe cap and the extra aesthetically pleasing leather, in my opinion, make this 1000 mile more versatile than a lot of competing models like the Red Wing Iron Ranger, with which it is so often compared. You would look weird wearing Iron Rangers with like a button down, but the 1000 mile is fine with both a t-shirt and jeans, and I think it'd be fine with khakis and an Oxford shirt as well. Even just with a pair of khakis and a button down, they're just a bit outdoorsy. You're wrong, 2018 me. These are very versatile boots. For more on how to style these boots, I actually did a whole video on how to style Red Wing Iron Rangers up there, and pretty much the same advice for that. Wolverines are more versatile though. If you're new to nice boots, my main point here is do not mistake expensive boots with dressy boots. You cannot wear this with a suit, but still, again, there are much more casual looking boots out there, and this is a nice balance of durability and versatility for sure. Now, there are other 1000 mile models out there. The lineup changes a lot, but usually it includes cap toes, lug soles, and occasionally fun collabs like this one made of baseball glove leather that I tried out last year. Very importantly, most of the 1000 miles have rubber soles, if that's what you want. A lot of people, including past me, like to whine about this leather sole. You don't have to get it. With another 15 bucks, you can get the exact same boot with a rubber sole, if that's what you want. The most controversial thing about this boot is this leather sole. And guys, I was so wrong to hate on this sole in that old video. It is perhaps the most commendable thing about this boot is despite the market's overwhelming dislike and mistrust of leather soles, Wolverine steadfastly continues to sell this at the top of their 1000 mile range. I would even guess that this is the most popular leather soled boot in America. What were my complaints about it last time? It's not super durable, it scratches pretty easily, and it doesn't provide very much grip at all. Okay, that is partially true, but not entirely. They aren't great at going down a lot of stairs, and they're also not great at going down carpeted stairs. You do need a handrail to use. I will give that to the haters of leather soles. But you also can't wear flip-flops to the gym or Oxford shoes to the beach. Just because you can't wear something in every single imaginable circumstance doesn't mean you shouldn't own them. And I do understand that boots like this, and especially with the price, the idea that one might have is that you should be able to go anywhere and do anything with boots that are this well made and this water resistant and this rugged and so on. And they might feel cheated that it's hard to walk down carpeted steps in them. Yeah, okay, fine. But there are so many reasons why leather soles have so much cred among footwear nerds. Here are 7. Number 1. Once you've worn them a few times, the sole gets scratched up and then it is much grippier than you think they are. I walk around New York City and in grassy areas and woods all the time in these. They're fine. You can't run in them, but you kind of can't run in any boots, can you? But much grippier than you think they are. Number 2, leather soles break in quickly. Compared to rubber soles, they're a lot more flexible, more soft. Number 3, they are cheaper. Usually the leather soled version of a boot, if it's sold, is the cheapest. So it is really nice of a company to give you that option to save some cash if you want. Number 4, big one, they're breathable. In fact, this boot's leather sole, lack of a midsole, and mostly being unlined make it surprisingly a very good boot for hot weather. Number 5, leather is naturally odor resistant, as is the cork between the insole and outsole in these Goodyear welted boots. Number 6, according to 2 shoemakers that I've spoken to recently, the guy behind Oak Street and the guy behind Old Speed, this is the easiest kind of sole for a cobbler to replace once it wears down, and the cheapest to replace. Although I concede it does wear down a bit more quickly than most rubber soles. But lastly, number 7, leather soles are really comfortable. This boot specifically has good ground feel because in addition to the leather sole, it doesn't have a midsole. There are fewer layers between your foot and the ground. There's this fascinating balance of durability and softness with this. You're not risking broken glass coming through the boot or anything. They're perfectly fine to walk around in challenging environments. But when you stand on a bumpy surface like this one, you can feel those bumps under your foot. If you're walking around a grassy field, you can feel that you're walking through nature. Again, it's hard to describe, but it's really pleasant. It's nice. And leather soles are also lightweight. It's another reason. This boot actually in general is lightweight. I weighed them against these 3 competitors and it is the lightest of all 4, even the famously lightweight Thursday Captain boot. All that said, another downside of the leather sole is that it is particularly vulnerable to toe curl, especially if you get it wet. So the more you wear them, the toe is prone to slowly curling upward, like in that old video of mine, which is why you just need to make sure that you have some shoe trees or boot trees. If you do, it's totally fine. Don't worry about the toe curl and stuff. Or just get one with a different sole, because there's a bunch of other soles you can get this in. That's actually a really good thing about this brand. So that's the sole section of the video. The rest of this construction, just because you might be new to boots, if you're checking out this boot, this is Goodyear welted, so very easy to resole, very water resistant. A last very subtle thing to note about the Goodyear welt is that this is called a 270-degree Goodyear welt, because as you can see here, the stitching sort of disappears under the heel. This is just an aesthetic thing. The main reason for that is that it keeps the heel more sleek. It's like an aesthetic thing. There are arguments that it's less water resistant. I keep hearing that's not the case at all, and then I hear that actually right here is a bit more likely to get water through, but whatever. It is unusual in that it is missing a midsole. Boot brands normally do that because they want you to have some extra flexibility there. You lose maybe a little bit of stability in exchange for that. But you do get a shank in these boots and you do get the stability of the all-leather construction as well. The shank is made of fiberglass to keep the weight down. In my last video, I said there was no shank in this, and that's because I called Wolverine, asked them, they said there's no shank. They've also said on Twitter, there's no shank. I think what they mean is it's not a steel shank, so it's not a traditional shank. That must be where the misunderstanding came from. But if a boot has a shank, that's like a stiff piece of material, usually around here in the midfoot, and it helps to keep a boot more stable, and many people find that it makes their feet less sore at the end of the day. That is responsible for a lot of the stability that people get boots for. Hey, what about the sizing? That was the most watched part of my last review. I should have just made this whole video sizing. You should order a half size smaller than your Brannock size, which is the number that you get from the device that fits your foot in the shoe store. I could say just order a half size smaller than your sneaker size and you would probably be fine. The only thing is that sneakers often tend to run small. Like for me, a lot of my sneakers are size 12. My real size on a Brannock device is 11.5. And in boots like this, pretty much all the boots I have, I'm an 11. So look at the sizes you've got for all your shoes. If you don't have any boots, then your shoes are probably all one of 2 sizes, and get a half size smaller than that, right? I'm 11.5 and a 12 in sneakers, I'm 11 in this. If all that sounds confusing, go to a shoe store, pretend you're gonna buy some shoes, get your Brannock size, subtract half from that, you'll be golden. And they're also not narrow shoes, which is nice. It makes them a little bit less risky when it comes to the sizing. That said, Wolverine does not do any wide sizes in this. They have in the past, and they might have now. You watching this in the future, they might have brought it back. At the moment, these are just sold in the regular D width. If you are an E, if you're like a little bit on the wider side, good chance you'll be fine with these boots because the toe is like fairly round. You could also also try sizing up a half size. That might take care of you. A lot of people with wide feet, they can get away with doing that, especially when it's around a toe like that. Lastly, the price or the value. This is a boot made in America with Wolverine leather and Goodyear construction, and it is $385. Which is funny because in my mind, this was well over 400 bucks, but I double checked the price throughout the years on the Wayback Machine, and it was the same price in 2021, 2023, and 2018 when I did my video. Actually, in 2018, it was $365 and a 5% price increase in 7 years. Years that have included COVID and everything else. That is pretty impressive. Wolverine is a gigantic conglomerate now, so I was ready to hate on them for big price jumps, but it actually hasn't been that bad. And when you look at their American-made competitors, we'll compare the competitors with the rubber-soled version of this boot, which is 400 bucks. Oak Street's made in America, 488 bucks. Truman's on average 440, on Edmunds are 495. These are not all identical boots. There are reasons that they are pricier that I don't have time to get into, but all those boots I just mentioned, Wolverine leather, Goodyear welt, made in America. Wolverine's price is not that bad relative to those similar boots. There are cheaper options out there though. Thursday's Vanguard is probably the best known example, but it's still a Goodyear welted boot. It's made in the US. They actually also have a chromexcel version for 265 bucks. Nobody knows how they keep prices so low at Thursday. It is a very different look, and the insole is foam. There's a few differences there, but it's a good price. But the main competitor, of course, that people talk about here is Red Wing's Iron Ranger, which is $350. But honestly, I think the actual competitor at Red Wing to the 1000 mile is Red Wing's Blacksmith, which is much more similar looking. That boot is $330. So Red Wing does win there, but the Blacksmith is almost the exact same boot as a rubber-soled Wolverine. It's even got no midsole like the 1000 mile. The main difference is that Red Wing uses their own leather from their own tannery, which helps keep the price down. And Red Wing doesn't do the leather soles, which I think really worth experiencing. But yeah, the Red Wing Blacksmith, I guess it largely wins in the comparison. All right, man, let's sum up. Is the 1000 mile worth it? Pros and cons. The pros, the leather sole has so many pros that I mentioned, and also you don't have to get it if you don't want to, which is a pro as well. You have that choice. It is unusually breathable. With the leather sole, lack of midsole and everything. That plus the fiberglass shank makes it unusually lightweight. It's not the most breathable leather in the entire world, but still, if you're only gonna buy one boot in your whole life, it should probably be chromexcel. It's just the casual boot leather. Nice roomy toe for the fit, nice and comfortable in that regard. For something that's a bit of a vintage work boot, it is pretty versatile, I think. And just broadly, this is a Goodyear welted boot, so it's very water resistant and can be resold infinity times. Lastly, it's made in the United States, and while the price is not the lowest for an American-made Goodyear welted boot, Horween leather, to be under 400 bucks, it is actually pretty inexpensive, relatively speaking. As for the cons, these days I try to say potential downsides instead of cons. These might matter to you, they might not. First, it's not the absolute cheapest boot of its ilk. Second, leather soles do have some downsides, but again, you don't have to get that leather sole. If you do get the leather soled version, besides carpeted stairs being a bit tricky, you do need shoe trees. You should get shoe trees for any high quality boot, but especially if you get the leather sole, you really don't have a choice. You have to get shoe trees for this or you're gonna be in trouble. The shock absorption is not fantastic, even for an old-timey boot, because this does not have the usual midsole, but there's all those benefits of it being all leather underfoot that I've mentioned, and the ground feel stuff, like that tactile sensation, I think it's worth it. Some people prefer a more cushy feeling underfoot. They have no wide widths right now. While it is versatile for a work boot inspired boot, it is not a dress-up boot. If you prioritize versatility, you would want something with a more of an almond toe for that. The tongue is only partially gusseted, so it might not be as rainproof as you would like. Also, Wolverine Worldwide is a billion-dollar conglomerate these days. It's not a salt-of-the-earth, family-owned small business, which some people would rather patronize, especially for products as Americana as this, or for products at this price point. Another con, there are not that many leather options for this boot. There are two right now. Sometimes they'll come out with others. They came out with the blue one not long ago. They'll regularly have a suede or a rough out one, but not a lot of leathers to choose from. The partial lining in this boot is pigskin, so it is not kosher or halal. My recent trip to Malaysia reminded me that there are actually billions, plural, of people to whom that does matter, so it might matter to you. Another thing that I've heard people complain about with this boot is the kind of sock lining. So if you see here, it ends kind of halfway down the foot. That's one of many elements contributing to the breathability, and there's not a ton of layers between you and the real world outside. I have heard that this partial lining can get unstuck with a lot of use. You can just glue it back down if that happens, man. I really don't think that's a big deal, but some people don't like that's a risk when it is just partially lined. But again, a lot of this stuff, that's one of them that people complain about. All those things are things that make it have a great ground feel, great flexibility, really lightweight. So I kind of think that stuff's, those are features, not bugs, you know? But some people, they just want more heft in their boot, which is totally fine. And that's my review of the Wolverine 1000 mile. I think it was pretty good. I have a written one in the description below where I actually get into more detail, if you can believe it, because these videos would get too long, no one would watch them. But there's more to say about this boot. Check it out if you want to learn more, and subscribe here as well if you want more videos on casual and durable boots and menswear, and I'll catch you for the next video.